I've been making videos for as long as I can remember because I enjoy sharing things with people and showing experiences that you can have which you might not have known about otherwise. So we're here on the Art of Rust server where they've got a bunch of custom plugins and we're going to be building a very unique type of base with those plugins. We're on a creative server where PvP is completely disabled, but there's still PvE and anybody can come over here and steal my spot. So I've got TCs around the area to make sure that they don't, because this is going to take me a few days to do. One of the unique plugins on this server is called the Nature Market, and you can access it in the chat by typing /nm, and then the currency for it is scrap, so you have to buy these items. And then you can place them around just like any other deployable, and if you pull out your hammer, you can pick it up with the middle click. It's called /dn pickup, which you can bind to a key, so I've got mine bound to my N key. And what I'm thinking about doing is building up a floating rock around this area, so I'm kind of just figuring out the height that I want to get it at and making sure that everything is centered. And one of the problems I'm going to have with these quarry rocks, which is a prefab in the Nature Market, there's a bunch of other stuff like bushes, trees, and animals and stuff, but I'm going to be building the rock out of these rocks, and I have to figure out a way that I'm going to be able to place them flat, because the way it works is it just places it at any angle of whatever surface you're looking at. So what I think I'm going to do is build up a bunch of twig right here, and then use the twig to place all of the rocks flat above, and then work around that. But we'll see how it goes once I get up there. I think that this is going to be a pretty good height for it. I checked with a minicopter and it looks pretty centered, so that I'll be able to like connect it to the rocks on the side of it. I just have to make sure that once I place these rocks down up here that I'm going to have enough space to do a build. Otherwise I'm going to have to like expand the twig out, which I'm probably going to have to do anyways, because it doesn't look like this is going to be big enough to build on top of it, but it's a good starting point. So now I've got the twig down on the top, and I need to start putting these rocks down in a pattern that's spaced out as evenly as possible. My goal throughout this build is going to be using as little of these prefabs as possible from the Nature Market to create what I've got in mind. So after about 20 minutes of fiddling around and figuring out how to space everything out, I've got this nice little circle here. It is definitely too small to build on, so like you can put foundations on top of these once I break the twig below it. So you see right now I can't, because there's twig below it and the foundation sticks really far down, so I've got to go through here and start breaking all this twig to kind of figure out the size of the base that I'm going to build on top of it. Just have to get rid of the TC here. Yeah, I'm going to have to /remove this last one, and alright, it's I guess I did something wrong. I've built a few bases on here before, so I'm not sure what the deal is. If I'd come over here, I could show you. You put the rock on the twig, and then you /remove, break the twig, rock floats. So I don't know what the deal is. So I guess let's just get right back to it and try it again safer this time. I rebuilt the twig. I made sure it was centered. I've got the rocks up here. I'm going to start breaking the twig to make sure that the rocks float. I might have to like break all of the twig before I break the TC. So I think I'm going to start breaking everything in the center here, which that should be everything in the center. Yeah, rock floats. So now, after I put these last couple of rocks down, I should be able to break all of the twig below it, and they will float. Which everything looks good so far. Break the twig, rock floats. There's nothing touching it, and the rock still floats. So now I should be able to break all of this, and then break the TC, and the rocks will still be there. And then 2 more. Rock still floats. We're good. I'm kind of afraid to break this tool cupboard down here now, so here we go for the 3rd time. Twig. Building a bunch of twig. Oh my goodness, I'm like... I think I've been doing this for 4 hours now. Now that I got this twig back up here, I don't need to build all the way into the center, so I don't need stability there. I just need this ring on the outside, and I can put these rocks on the edge of it. And I mean, from here, it's pretty simple. Make rock bigger. You know, I don't think you need to watch all this. I'm making the rock bigger. We're going to skip ahead a little bit, probably. Made the rock bigger. Look at it, the rock is bigger. So what I'm gonna do is build up some scaffolding that I can stand on and look up at the rock, and then I'll be able to place more rock on the rock to make it look like a rock instead of just a flat thing floating in the air. And then I'll be able to connect it to the formation on the ground below it so that it's not hovering and it looks like it has some sort of structural support to it. I'm standing on some twig here, and I think I'm going to put the rocks like this, create a circle, and then I'll be able to leave the inside of it hollow. It'll reduce the lag, and it's also going to save me a lot of time. Instead of placing down a bunch of rocks in the center, I can just do this little ring around instead. So the edge of these rocks isn't like perfect. You can see that it just kind of flipped around right there for a second, and I was able to get them in these weird angles instead of all of them being flat, which gives it a little more variation and makes it look a lot better. So let's take a look at it from a distance. Yeah, that's looking like a floating rock. I don't know what I'm really going to do with it yet. I'm thinking a tree on the top, connecting the sides of it to the rocks on the left and right so that you can like climb up the rocks up to the middle one from the ground. And then after that, I don't really know what I'm going to do, but while we're up in the sky here, it looks like it's pretty centered. Should be good. So I've been using a minicopter to get up to the top, and there's a bunch of stuff that we still got to do up there, but it kind of sucks to get up there. So I think I'm going to build the first pathway up from here. We're going to be building this pathway up here. It's going to be really weird to figure out. I have to just kind of sit here and fiddle around with it. I'm going to like build it inside of this rock so that you can walk up it as smooth as possible. One of the ways that I'm going to do it is by putting these smaller rocks down and building the larger quarry rock on it to get this angle, which is going to help me out a lot. And if you hold shift, it'll put it deeper into the ground. Same going for the quarry rock. When I'm placing it on the smaller rock, I can hold shift and it'll go in further, which is going to help me kind of like fine tune and mess around and figure out how I'm going to get all these rocks on here in a way that makes logical sense when you're walking up it. There's this like flat spot. It's not so flat, but I'm going to make it flat with this foundation, and I think I'll be able to get a nice little area with the rocks here by putting this foundation down and building on top of it. Now I've got this pathway that I can build out. It's going to be a little weird to try to figure this out. I'm confused and I'm just throwing rocks around. Somehow I managed to get it to kind of work. I got to put these ones sideways. So this is like the top or the side, I guess, that's sticking up instead of the flat surface. It's a little bumpy to walk on, but it works. And then there's this weird spot right here that I have to squeeze something in somehow like this. Yeah, there we go. And then people will be able to walk through here. You have to jump at some points. Unfortunately, I can't make it like a smooth ride all the way up because these rocks are just crazy to build around, the formations. But we can get almost all the way up at the top. We're like more than halfway now. The pathway up to here is going to take me a very long time to figure out. Probably going to skip over most of it in the video, so let's get straight to building the pathway up to here. What I'm going to do is place that foundation, place this rock, and then build up into it from this flat rock, because now all of my other rocks I place on it will be flat, and then I can use that technique with the smaller rock to build like one at like a 45-degree angle. But I need to get myself up there, so I'm going to do this. And then this is probably a good spot for it to go, like, yeah, like straight down. And now I'll be able to place the small rock here, and I'll just have to wiggle it around and figure out where the correct area is going to be at. I guess like that. Perfect. And now it's time to jump around like a monkey to get rid of all these rocks. I've got the bind to pick everything up bound to my N key. So it's the /DN pickup, like I said at the beginning of the video. That's how these rocks are just like disappearing in front of me. I'm gonna be doing a whole lot of this, getting stuck inside the rock, putting the rock back down until I get it all lined up. This should be the last one right here to connect to the bridge all the way. And I gotta like place it at an angle like that to line it up straight. So now it's touching the rock at the bottom that's on the rock formation, and when we come further away we should see it's connected nicely. Oh my goodness, this took such a long time to get to this point. It's been about an hour and a half or something. I've lost track of time. I'm building rocks around the rock to make it look like it's natural somewhat, even though I've only got rectangles to work with. I've like built it in a way to where if something looks like it's floating, I bring the rocks down like this until they touch a point that feels like it's got stability to it without going too crazy with the amount of rocks that I'm using. So I've got this pathway that I built earlier, and then I did some more work to wrap everything around. There's just a couple more rocks to put around here, so it's a little easier to jump up. And we're not going to be able to fully smoothly walk all the way up. It's just way too steep to get a nice pathway without it looking weird. I would say this is looking pretty good. It feels like it's a part of the rock formation. It's walkable, climbable without being a struggle, and it doesn't look too goofy. We're going to cover it up with some bushes later. So when I do this on the next side, I'm not going to record too much of it. This was a very long process to set this up, and it's just a pathway that goes up to the top, nothing too interesting. But you can see here we're running through it. We've got some nice spots where we don't have to jump. Other spots where you're going to have to jump, unfortunately, and then we can make our way up to the top up here. So that's pretty cool. And then I've just got this twig right here, so I remember where the center is. Before I log off for the day, I'm going to do some fun stuff with the nature market, which is like blending in the rock with the surroundings. We also need some more trees in the area, and we're going to be able to do that with the nature market. There's these smaller rocks, and then there's also this, there's this rock as well that I can put like on top of it. And then we've got the bushes, and every time you pick them up and put them down, it places a different variant. So I like these ones. These are the willows. It's going to make the area look real nice, real good once we get them spread around. And I'm going to put it in like places that look a little weird, that look like something's missing. And these bushes are going to fill in that gap. Another thing that we can do with the nature market is place down trees. Yeah, these are not harvestable either. Only the person who placed them down or people in your team can pick them up. But a problem that I'm finding is they also go like the bushes where it's like a variant of each tree. So I'm going to have to do a lot of this until I get the tree that I want with the, like, that's a dead tree. But one of the things that I've been struggling to figure out is how to put them down not crooked. And then it dawned on me, duh, why don't I just do the same thing I do with the rocks and put them on a foundation and then break the foundation? So let's give that a try. You can see we're on a hill here. Grab our pine tree, which I want here because they're gonna like take up some space. I want the, I guess it's the medium-sized pine tree. This one is the tall one. I'm looking for a medium-sized tree like this. Now I should be able to break this. Yeah, the tree floats. I guess it's floating, right? Not sticking out of the ground though. And then every few trees, I'm coming through here, I'm grabbing my willow bushes and I'm placing them down to fill in the gaps in a natural way. Usually the bushes look the best when it's like in groups of 2 or 3. Now we're looking good over here on the lake side. There's a big lake on the other side of these trees. Most of these we've put down. And you can see that left side is really filled in. Feels a lot more natural. I want some of these tall pine trees like behind the rock over here. When we look at it from this side, it's going to fill in that empty space that's below the rock. I'm still not sure what I'm going to do in the center underneath it just yet, but for now, I'm going to put a couple more of these pine trees around there, and it'll help me like figure out where the bushes need to go so it doesn't just completely blend in. The last thing I'm going to do before I log off for the day is get some of these bushes on this rock, see what it looks like. I'm going to like fill in the crevices here all along the rock, and it's going to give it a little bit of an overgrowth feel, but I don't want to go too crazy with it. 1, for lag, 2, because if you put too much of it down, it's going to look unnatural. And I'm really trying to go for the spots where it feels the best, to where it like flows along the side. Like this spot right here looks like it needs a little something, so we bush it. And spots like up here, there's not a whole lot of space, but this obviously needs a bush. Oh. 2 bushes not needed. There we go. We need bush here. And I'm probably going to mess around with this a lot. Even once I'm like close to the end of the build, I'll probably still throw a couple more bushes around because I need the rest of it filled out on the other side to see what's missing on this side. But we'll get a couple down for now, and then I'm going to log off for the night, and we'll continue this tomorrow. I was messing around with the environment plugin to like make my weather look different. As you can see, it's like foggy and stuff, and I had an idea and I saw an admin was online that could help me with it. So I called them over to see if they could help me before I logged off for the night, and I wanted to put a tree on the top of this with roots coming out of the bottom of it. So my friend B is an admin on this server, and she came over and we put this tree on the top of it, and she can like make it bigger with admin plugins. And then we've got a bunch of roots that are just upside down swamp trees that we put underneath it. One of the problems with making the tree that big is the roots of the trees stick out. That's what the underneath of the tree looks like when it's underground. And we unfortunately had to make the tree a little bit smaller. This is obviously very big. As a regular player, you're not able to flip the trees and turn them around like this. So I had to have B come over here and help me get these roots underneath the tree, which feel like it's coming like out of the rock. It looks really cool. I don't know. We put upside down tree on the rock. Now it looks real nice, giving more of like a fantasy feel. The theme for the wipe on the server this month was fantasy, and I didn't really have a vision for what like the main focus of this build was going to be until I thought of tree with root through rock that's on a rock that's kind of floating. So it turned out pretty nice. It looks real good. It is now day 2, and I'm just going to get right to it. We got to build this other bridge on the other side so it looks symmetrical, and then we're going to get some bushes and trees and stuff and build the pathway down this other rock on the other side. So I'm just going to do the same thing I did on the other side, build some twig up so I can get the flat rocks down up here, and then just kind of placing them on top of each other, get some more twig up here, and then I'll be able to build back down in reverse. and do the technique with the small rock to get these bigger rocks put at a 45-degree angle. It's a pretty simple process after doing it the first time. We get our bridge up close to the top, put the small rock down by holding shift, get this rock up here, and then we're gonna have to put some sort of small rock in here. Now that we got our bridge up there, I found it easier to build up all the way from the bottom on the other side so that I can connect it, like meet them halfway on the top, and it makes it easier to figure out how I'm gonna arrange the rocks up at the top. This side is a different shape of a rock, and it's a lot more difficult to work with to get like a nice pathway up it, but there's like this middle part right here, which isn't too bad. The hard part is going to be connecting the bridge at the top. Nothing too crazy here, just threw a bunch of rocks down to make a pathway up and built some twig up to get this like staircase behind me, and then yeah, it was pretty smooth from here. I'm going to start putting some bushes and trees down, I think. Now we have the right side completed, and I've also got the pathways like another layer deep so they look thicker. And as I was placing down bushes and a couple trees on the right side, I broke an external TC to reposition it, and a bunch of my rocks and bushes and stuff disappeared. So I had to have an admin online. One of my other friends, Da Vinci, thank God, came over and helped me move everything. He can like pick things up and move it with telekinesis.
It might. So what happens is sometimes if you do like an update like that, it causes a conditional update for all the other items around it, and it will like make it like try to figure out if it's like touching things or whatever, and then it'll break.
So he helped me get rid of all the twig and TCs, and now I'll be able to put down the actual tool cupboard locations, which I probably should have waited to put these down. If I would have known to begin with, it would have saved a lot of time. We spent like 2 hours fixing up that mess. And with my infinite knowledge, I decided to break another TC because I figured it was too far away, and ended up breaking more rocks and trees, so he also had to help me fix the roots underneath the rock that B did earlier. We're more than halfway done, I would say. We've got the main structure completed. I'm going to build some sort of base up on the top of the rock, and then I do want to have a vending machine in here that I've been doing recently on the server to help new players out with like a little bit of gear, and also to help me farm things that I don't want to farm, like components, and then maybe decorate the bottom a little bit. Oh, and I also put some trees behind the rock, behind the roots, and did some bushes and trees on the right side as well to help it kind of all flow together and make it feel like it's a part of the forest. I'm going to be freehanding the foundations around this tree because I think I want to put some like flowers or something in the center there, and I've decided that I'm going to turn this into an artist retreat, so there's going to be 2 paintings up here, maybe more if I can get it to fit. It's going to be a weird shape, but it looks like that was pretty easy to freehand. I might even put my TC in the center if it lets me here, like throw it inside of the tree, because there is upkeep on the server, so I gotta have a TC somewhere. It's in there. I'm gonna have to call Da Vinci or B to come put upkeep in here. Oh my god. Nothing but problems this base is causing me, but it is nice that it's inside of there. That's good, at least. We've got a little bit before the base will actually start decaying. They've also got a workshop plugin on here with a bunch of custom skins that are like made by the admins for the server, and I found these stone ones. It's pretty much the closest thing I could find to the style of the build, because I still do need these TCs down here, and I'm placing them in better locations than I had before, and I will not have to break them again and ruin my build, so I'm gonna throw some of those down here before some troll decides to come over here and mess with me. Also, they added the world models for the flowers into the nature market plugin, so a cool thing I figured that you could do with this is put them inside of bushes to make it look like flower bushes. It looks pretty nice, but it's a little difficult to get them to be placed the way that you want them to. I also grabbed a bunch of random items and skinned it, so we've got like a chest here with the medieval skin, table with some skins, new flower pots, barrels. I got some bees over to the left. Whole bunch of random stuff down here to make it feel like, I don't even know, like a cove? After having some ADHD and completely forgetting I'm supposed to be building a base up here, I've come to the conclusion that I'm going to just put a bunch of door frames down, and the centers where the paintings are going to go. We are on the Art of Rust server, after all. And I'm basically building like a gazebo up here, I guess. The roof is going to be a little tricky to figure out, but it shouldn't be anything too crazy. It's a very, very simple base up here. Since we've done a lot with the nature market, I didn't want to go too crazy with the base. Otherwise, people might lag when they come over here. And since we are on a creative art server, we don't really got to worry too much about people coming over here, raiding the base, stealing loot, because I can just throw it in my backpack. And bases aren't raidable, so it allows us to do much more unique things that you wouldn't otherwise see on a typical Rust server. So I can leave a big hole in the base, point these roofs in different directions to create a cool pattern, and leave all of my doors open. I think I'm going to replace these lunar wall frames with garage doors that have a skin on them though, and like build a different type of entrance, because I still have a little bit more room to work with out here. and I do have the ability to slash remove. I'm just gonna bust these 2 door frames off on both sides and have like a door that heads off to each bridge, and then put a different type of garage door behind me with a different skin. And the roofs should be pretty simple, just connect them right back up. So it's just gonna be 3 triangles on the ground right here on each side. And it's looking good. There's this garage door skin that I used in my last build. It looks very nice. Got the view of the town behind us. I'm working on the area with the vending machine now. Basically, I just built out a square from that tool cupboard that I had over here and put a bunch of rocks around it and connected it to the main rock. Nothing too crazy, but it does look very nice, especially from further away. I think we're going to add some bushes around here, help it blend in a little bit more. I got these rocks put at a bunch of weird angles so that it kind of looks like it like fissured off or whatever, eroded off, like a little mini avalanche happened over here and somebody built into it. Yeah, these bushes definitely help with it a lot. When you look at it from further away, it blends in a lot more. Looking real good now. Just putting on the final touches. Got some more shrubs on the interior on the new right side. I like built my way up to the top and got some shrubs up there. I've decided that since I'm always on this rock anyways, I might as well build a shrine over here to look at it from a distance and line it up to where when you're looking out from this side, you'll have like a really good view of the entire base as a whole. And then I can build a pathway from here to the town. There's like a town every single wipe on this server where people can build around, which is where I'm located, but I'm a little far away from the main road. So I'm going to build this shrine, build a pathway, and then also connect it up to the main base itself from the shrine. There's really no rhyme or rhythm to what I built here. I just kind of built something random, and all I knew is I wanted this window to be able to see the whole base once you walked up to it. The Adobe feels alright. It looked kind of weird with any other base skin. One of my favorite things to do with the nature market is to use these little rocks to build like boulders and throw a bush or a tree next to it, and you can make some real nice looking boulders by just playing around with it, holding shift, placing them at weird angles. And then what I do with these is I put lanterns on them so that when it's nighttime, you can like direct players that are running through here. Building the path is pretty self-explanatory. Grab big rock, hold shift, put it in the ground, throw some stuff on the side of it to make it look good. I connected it up over to the main base over here. That is pretty much the final thing that I can think of to finish this build off. And that is how I built a base like nothing you've ever built before in Rust on the Art of Rust server by utilizing their Nature Market plugin. If you want to check the server out for yourself, I'll have all the information in the description. You can also just search for Art of Rust in-game and you'll find the server. If you don't see it, it's probably restarting or they're updating a plugin or something. This has been a great server for me to come and chill on, listen to music, watch movies while I'm painting or building a crazy base like this, which this is my second base on the Art of Rust server like this. And this server has helped me discover a few new types of things that I can do for content that I actually enjoy doing, like art and building crazy things like this. So if this is something you enjoy watching, or if you have any ideas for how I can improve upon this, let me know in the comments. And maybe come check out the server once in a while in between your regular wipes. You might find that you enjoy it. You're like running on top of it.